Well, it was time to push the gas pedal, and nothing happened to the Ohio State vehicle. It didn't go anywhere. Come over to the Indianapolis Speedway, and Ohio State produces clearly, unequivocally, its worst offensive outing of the season, and they lost a Big Ten championship because of it. And you can still see celebrations over here as Indiana comes off the field. They are 13-10 winners over Ohio State Saturday night on Lucas Oil Stadium, at Lucas Oil Stadium. So Ryan Day and Julian Sayin just spoke in this press conference room. We're going to see how many Buckeyes are still left in their room back here. But this is a eerie sense of deja vu. Now Ohio State's going to hope that it can turn this latest 13-10 setback into more fuel and reload that gas tank for the college football playoff. They're still going to have a first-round bye. There's very little question about that as they go into the college football playoff. But 13-10, just exactly like what happened to Ohio State to close out the regular season in 2024. Had the same red zone problems, had a costly turnover, and then missed a field goal down there in the fourth quarter that could have tied this game, maybe sent it to overtime. But this game had a lot of the same hallmarks that comes back. Ohio State's defense played phenomenally well. Did they get hit for a couple plays? Yep, they did. They gave up some deep throws. They gave up a third down, too many third downs, I should say, that allowed Indiana to extend these drives, put the game away. They only scored one offensive touchdown. That was all they needed because Buckeyes just could not get anything going consistently with their run game. The game plan itself was certainly not the best that we've seen. And I asked Ryan Day about how that was structured with Brian Hartline this week taking the USF job. And not really the clearest answer, but we'll get into that. We're going to pop in here, see which players are still talking in here. Looks like none of them. So supposed to be joined by Luke Montgomery in here for a minute. The Buckeyes have had Austin Saravel, Luke Montgomery, Brandon Ennis represent them. I believe Caleb Downs, Caden McDonald. So we were in there with Julian Sayin and Ryan Day. We'll see if any players come in here, and we'll try and join in with those conversations. If they do, the Buckeyes are supposed to be available for, I don't know, another 10 to 15 minutes. Those are the Big Ten rules, which probably are not going to be followed if I had to guess, but we'll float around down here. I guess Ohio State's players will come from that direction, but trying to find some ways to put this game into context as it ends is really difficult because that was wildly out of character for Ohio State. Even, and I want to make sure to make this point, Indiana is a hell of a football team. They are deserving of the Big Ten championship that they just won tonight. But it feels to me exactly like what happened in the Horseshoe late November 2024, where Ohio State allowed this to happen. They beat themselves in a way that they don't do very often. They came into this game 12-0. They came in, as the national narrative will tell you, they hadn't been tested down the stretch in some of these games. Thought they were still going to be able to find an answer to get off the mat there after they, finally made what was the biggest adjustment, because this offensive line for Ohio State, on the heels of its best performance of the season, was getting pushed around by Indiana. A lot of that seemed to be happening on the right side of the line, and then they put Gabe Van Sickle into the game at right guard in place of Tegra Chabot, and they put together two lengthy drives, including their first third down conversion of the game, which did not come until the second possession that they had in the second half, a throw from Julian Sayin to Brandon Ennis. And then they drive all the way down inside the Indiana 10. So, all right, well, they've made an adjustment. They've got things going with the passing attack. They found a couple solutions. Now they're going to put this game away. They had led it, 10-3 at halftime, had a chance with the football right away to start the third quarter. All right, there's going to be a sense of normalcy. But then, the turning point right there, Ohio State gets down to 4th and 1 at the Indiana 5. They'd call a sneak. Julian Sayin, just like he did last week in a similar situation down in the red zone against Michigan, drops his right knee down to the ground. They review it after initially calling it a first down. They say that he's short, so turnover on downs on there. So another lengthy drive, and Ohio State really was commanding the time of possession there in the second half, and they were moving the football. But that bogs down. The next time that they get down there into the red zone, they had a similar They had the same thing, 4th and 1. They were down at the 9-yard line. They had tried a rollout on 3rd down. It was out of everyone that could have been on the field, Ohio State, did not try to go to Jeremiah Smith or Carnell Tate or Brandon Innes or Bo Jackson. And the pass goes incomplete to Bent Christian in the back of the end zone, and then Jaden Fielding misses the field goal. So that also another, obviously, callback to what happened last year with the 2 missed field goals, and they lose to Michigan. So, I'm fast forwarding there a little bit to the end of this game. Was hoping that we could talk to some of the Buckeyes. Maybe we'll pop down to the locker room there. As I mentioned, supposed to still be available in this room and are not. They will understandably want to get on this bus and get out of here as fast as possible while Indiana is celebrating out there on the turf at Lucas Oil Stadium. And Kurt Cignetti, as we're speaking right now, taking his victory lap at the podium, and deservedly so. Can't question what he has built at Indiana. They played a really tough game, physical on both sides of the football. But Ohio State will look at this just the same way that they did a year ago when they lost the rivalry game, that they did enough defensively. You hold the number 2 team in the country to 13 points. That should be good enough to win. And tonight it should have been good enough to force overtime at worst, but did not. So missed that short field goal, did not execute in the red zone. And these problems just keep popping up here. Let's see if you can get Ross here. You got 2 seconds? Can I bug you?
On camera?
Yes. You're eating.
I just put like
Okay, I'll let you chew, and then I'll put it.
a piece of gum in my mouth.
Well, that's fine. I just took the piece of gum out of my mouth. I forgot I had it for the first half of this show. I jinxed it talking to you. Sorry to waste your gum. About waiting for Selection Sunday and what was going to happen. It's the same score as happened in 2024. I know that you guys can, and we'll try and regroup. But you've been around this team, Ryan Day, that locker room. What was the mood like for this one? I know it's just one game. There's still goals ahead, but it's going to sting.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? I mean, you want to win every game. It stings. I think they're ticked off. I think lessons learned, right? You're exactly right. 13-10 was the final game last year. That's what happened today, and now we just need to go on a run. Hey, let's lick our wounds. Let's get back to Columbus. Let's figure out where we're playing. Obviously, we'll find out tomorrow. This team's a great team, and I know we left a lot out on the field, and I think that's what's the most disappointing part. So now we just got to regroup and go play.
Do you have any doubt that this team will avoid having to play at home this month? I'm not asking. Yeah. It's not a politicking situation, right. But are you comfortable with where you're at right now?
Based on the rankings, based on the landscape, to me, there's no way we're not in the top 4. I think that's how it'll play out. So we'll see. Is it 2, 3, 4, somewhere in there? Obviously, you have a SEC champ in Georgia.
Yeah.
You have obviously this. Indiana's going to the Rose Bowl. Georgia most likely Sugar Bowl, and then it'll be Cotton or Orange, and we'll see what happens.
All right, get back safe. Thanks for stopping.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Yep. As if you didn't know, Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjork. So players are trickling out. Thought I saw Austin Sareveld, who was among the players that were available. I'm not sure how they're all getting out of here as the Buckeyes head towards these buses. Not all going to be in a great mood to speak. Totally understand and will respect that tonight. So tough scene, tough opportunity as the Buckeyes will be looking to bounce back. It's still going on out here. No, I don't. He did. Ryan spoke for 20 minutes at the podium, so I think he has been tortured enough breaking down this game. Just look at it's tough. It's been more than a year since we've done one of these notebooks after a loss, Birm. So, they taking it really slow, getting out of here. You see, Caleb Downs leaving here, Jermaine Matthews. They
bust it straight to this.
Yeah. So, Caleb mentioned right there, he's got a little bit different travel plans. He, I believe, has to go to a couple award ceremonies over the next 2 days. Won't be around the team in that process. They're not going to practice on a Sunday tomorrow anyways. They get ready for this month ahead. All right. This is kind of a mess down there. We'll leave that alone. But again, you go back to this performance from the defense. You can't, to me, I guess people can, that they gave up throws. Jermaine Matthews got beat a couple of times. There were a ton of what I thought were interesting, questionable calls. The Lorenzo Styles pass interference there to start the third quarter, or was it late in the second quarter? I don't know. It's all running together for me. Didn't hold up for me. And at the same time that all that was happening, apparently it is legal to just tackle Kenyatta Jackson to the ground. So that was an absolutely bizarre officiating performance. There's Television's Adam King. I think he's getting ready to go live, so we will maybe catch up with him later on. But here's... I don't know if Pat McAfee wants to appear on our show. I know, you're right. Well, I'm not just going to yell at him to come join the show right now. I don't know if I'm in the mood for Pat McAfee right now. He was pretty jubilant as he celebrated himself. I don't remember him going to the University of Indiana. Maybe I'm mistaken on that front. This is very weird, Birm. This has never happened at Lucas Oil Stadium. Never happened in Big. There's going to be a new team logo on these banners down here. And as you look across that stretch, there were 4 block O's in a row. Now there's going to be a stretch of 4 non-block O's going across there. Is that 5? Oh, no, 3 straight for Michigan, then Oregon. Okay, yeah. Math's not my strong suit. You can tell. I'm out of practice on some of these over here. So they're cleaning up the confetti. The Buckeyes are getting on the bus. We're going to have a lot to talk about here. Probably going to be one of the shorter notebooks we've done because the shelf life is pretty short. Ohio State is getting back. They will find out where they're going. As Ross Bjork just mentioned there, they will be going to either the Cotton Bowl or the Orange Bowl. Our assumption is that back to Texas will be the destination for Ohio State, but certainly that's going to be up to the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. What's that going to look like when they get there? I think everything that we're going to be talking about over the next 2 or 3 weeks is what Ohio State has to do to get this offensive game plan figured out. Again, Indiana is very good, but I thought Ohio State was making it difficult on itself, and it was hard to tell. As you tell me, Birm, you had a better vantage point down there, and I know we're going to talk about this on Snap Judgments and on Monday at Roosters and everything else, but Keenan Bailey seemed like pretty engaged next to Ryan Day, who had the call sheet in his hand. I have another story, but did it feel like something was different to you?
No. I mean, it was a better team that they were playing, and they stopped doing what they did to get down into the red zone over and over. I mean, Bo Jackson, especially the last 2 possessions to get inside the 10, was Bo Jackson on the second one, and it was Julian Saint on the first one, and then they just stopped throwing the ball. And then the second time, you have 3rd and 1, and Bo Jackson's killing people, and you don't give him the football. It's puzzling. It's been that way all year, though.
Yeah. So the last coaches out of this box up here, they had to hold the elevator much longer than they normally do. Brian Hartline and Billy Fessler walked out of there. The rest of the Ohio State coaches that were upstairs were already in the elevator. Brian Hartline came out, looked, he was very emotional. He stopped and tried to get a drink out of one of the coolers. It was already locked. He couldn't even get something to drink as he walked in there. Just got in the elevator, turned around, looked at the media, waiting for him to go downstairs, and just stared absolute daggers through us. So you know how much this one hurts. And Ryan Day said that he is, Brian Hartline is working to try and end this run at Ohio State the right way. They're trying to manage the time. The way that Ryan Day talked about it on Wednesday afternoon was like whatever help he needs to get through the stretch, which the double duty is very challenging. I mentioned that throughout this week. Tom Herman did it. It was a different era. Luke Fickell did it. Ohio State didn't win in the college football playoff during that stretch. But, if this is going to happen again, Brian Hartline is going to have to manage his time. Ohio State's going to have to figure out the right buttons to push. They're going to have to find some solution for a red zone offense, a short yardage offense that has just not produced at the level that this program expects. And, don't have to look at this as if the world is ending, but a chance to win the Big Ten, to snap that skid, to get some hardware, to get a championship ring has slipped away, and you're not going to get that opportunity back. They can win the college football playoff. We saw them do that a year ago. But they're going to have to now go out and prove something wrong, as the skeptics have some more fuel to question whether this Ohio State team was as good as that number one ranking suggested throughout the season. But that's it. It's 13-10. Again, it's deja vu. It's the Notebook. It's a different one. It's a shorter one. But thanks for bearing with us. We will have Snap Judgments. We will be back on Monday with the live show. There will be very much plenty to discuss there. And of course, a Bourne Blitz as well. But we'll also have some coverage, probably some bonus Snap Judgments from the Woody Hayes Athletic Center on Sunday afternoon, as Ohio State now awaits where it goes in the college football playoff. This was a loss, 13-10. Indiana is the Big Ten champion. Back to the drawing board for Ohio State and back to Columbus for us. Thanks for joining us. So much more coming on 97.1, 10 TV, 10 TV Plus, Apple, Spotify, Roku, anywhere you can get the Austin and Birm Show. We appreciate you. Bear with us.